All right, welcome everybody to Inside the Matrix. We're at the Red Pill Expo in Mesquite, Nevada, and we have the honor and the pleasure of having Sheriff Mack with us. He's going to be one of the speakers at the Red Pill Expo. And Sheriff Mack is very well known for being a constitutional sheriff and also for standing up to the feds when they came in to his area in Arizona and tried to get him to follow federal orders. And Sheriff Mack had to school them on what's constitutional and what's not. And actually, his case went all the way to the Supreme Court, didn't it? And you won.
Yeah, bottom line on that is you could actually say, I sued the Clintons and I lived to tell about it.
You didn't get in the body count, thank God.
Thank goodness I wasn't one of the 116.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's go back a little bit for those people who aren't that familiar with you. Give them sort of the background on you becoming sheriff in Arizona, and then you getting a little visit from these Fed guys, and
Okay, well,
tell the story.
that's the only job I ever really wanted my whole life was to be sheriff of Graham County, my boyhood town. That's where I grew up. My dad was FBI there. I thought, wow, my dad served 25 years there in FBI. I'll serve there as sheriff. And then this stupid thing happened that Bill Clinton come out and supported this thing called the Brady Bill. And when he first was on TV talking about it, I didn't care. I just thought it was stupid, but he didn't explain the whole thing, He just kept saying how this was, and he guaranteed America that the Brady Bill was going to make us so safe. And he even said this is going to make your nation so safe. We're going to take back our streets. We're going to take back our parks. We're going to take back our schools. Children won't be afraid to walk to school and back or go to the park. Parents don't need to go with them. In fact, he even went this far. You're going to be so safe that even your police will not need to carry guns anymore.
Oh, no.
I know, that's what he said. So anyway, he's a salesman. But anyway, now we know it was a pack of lies. Do the Democrats ever come out and say, yeah, the Brady Bill didn't work, or yeah, this gun control law didn't work. Yeah, we were wrong about that. We got to have really good gun control. No, they lie every year so they can just piecemeal it away, and the media never holds them accountable.
Exactly.
Well, you said the last Brady Bill, you said the last gun control bill was going to work. It didn't. It didn't make us safer. So we asked kids in schools all over the country, did gun control make us safe in this country? Did the background checks make us safe in this country? Did the Brady Bill make us safe in this country? And so I became the first sheriff when the BATF came to Phoenix and told all the sheriffs in Arizona, they gave us a 25-page document, said this document details your marching orders, as you alluded to, telling us what to do, how we had to enforce the Brady Bill. And all the sheriffs are looking at each other and going, you guys can't tell us what to do. Well, Congress made a law. And I even told them, I don't care if they made 500 laws. You guys still can't tell us what to do.
That's right.
We don't work for the federal government. And so, and that's a good point. The sheriff has one boss. Does anybody know who it is?
The people.
It's we the people in his county. Even if they voted or not voted, you can't just say the voters. Okay? He answers to everybody in his county. That is his only boss. That is an example of a constitutional republic, that we answer to the people. I am a representative of the people in law enforcement. They are the ultimate authority in this country. I answer only to them. Not the president, not to Congress, not to the governor, but I answer to the people. It's a huge principle involved here. So after the BATF left our meeting, you never heard so much cussing in your life. The sheriffs were really upset. Both Democrat and Republican were really upset. And I was I was the youngest sheriff in the state at the time. I'd only been in office 5.5 years. And just passed my second term. And so I listened to all these other sheriffs. They totally convinced me that I was not going to do it, that I was not going to obey. And then all of them said, well, there's nothing we can do about it. We'll just have to go along.
So they caved in.
They caved in, and I didn't. And so I got home and I told my wife what this was all about. And I thought she's going to tell me, no way, are you going to fight it? We have 5 kids, And she
Too much
goes,
to lose.
yeah. And she goes, you're right. And she goes, so I told her, I said, this is going to cost us everything. I said, this will cost me in the next election. This will cost us my career. We'll probably have to move. We'll have to get out of here. All of that happened. I lost my next election. I've never served in law enforcement one day since. Nobody wants somebody that's not a team player.
Right.
And so, but I've been training law enforcement ever since, and I've been writing books. I've been traveling the country. I've been to all 50 states. I've done presentations in like 48 states. And back in Nevada here for the Red Pill Expo, and I love traveling. I teach high school now. I teach American history.
The real history.
Yeah, real American history. And we really focus on the Constitution. We focus on what was said earlier in the meeting, that what Franklin said. What form of government did you give us? A republic if you can keep it. And that's up to us. We're the people responsible to make sure that we keep our constitutional republic intact.
Exactly.
And what I look at right now, it scares me. I don't think we're going to make it.
Well, it's a scary thing that's going on. It's unprecedented what we see going on in the mainstream media.
Oh,
I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers. It just got out of control.
Well, the dishonesty in Washington, D.C. and with the mainstream press really just astonishes me.
Well, we see that these politicians have always been, somewhat bought or paid
Speak with
for.
forked tongue.
Yeah, but I think that's always been there.
Yeah.
But the thing now is it's all coming out.
Right.
We're getting to see exactly who these people are. And the line's being drawn in the sand now because you got somebody like Trump who's not perfect in any way. There's definitely some things I don't agree that he's interested in.
Right.
But he is messing up all of their plans, all of the globalist, socialist plans. And that's what we got to get behind.
My bottom line on Trump is, the more the mainstream media go after him and the more mainstream Democrats go after him, the more I like him.
That's what I said.
This guy's got to be great, or they wouldn't be spending this much time on him.
They wouldn't. Yeah. They're spending literally all their time on trying to get him out of the office.
But you know the miracle here, okay? And I'm going to say this tomorrow when I speak. The real miracle of this whole thing of impeaching Donald Trump is Nancy Pelosi actually quotes the Constitution now. She's never done that in her 35-year career. She actually talks about the oath of office, which she has been violating her entire career.
Yeah.
And yet now she's got to find some way to attack Trump. Oh my gosh, hilarious. What a miracle.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Now, what you're doing, though, is so important. I mean, you're well respected, out there. Everybody who knows anything about you has the highest esteem and respect for you. And the fact that you're out there trying to educate these sheriffs, because they really just don't know. They've always been told that they have to basically just follow orders of the feds.
Enforce the law.
And enforce the law, and the people, well, maybe, if it works out, we'll help them a little bit. But it's mostly being the ones who are supporting the elite. Yeah. Because they're behind money people.
Well, you seem to really be into this, and you know what's going on with what we've been doing and the teaching that we do and the education that we provide for sheriffs. But we also want to provide it to the public, because sometimes they don't know either. In fact, most of the time they don't.
They don't, because like you said, these things are not taught in school.
And the sheriff, that's his boss. So the public has to know what he's supposed to know and what he's supposed to do.
So they can work with him, and they're both on the same page of what they're trying to accomplish.
You hope. Yeah, you hope. So let's add a scenario to what we just talked about. Okay? The scenario is this. It's an easy one, because it happens all the time. Okay, so the state makes a law, or the federal government. Let's make it easier. The state makes a law that people can't have guns. Okay? And in some form or another. They either can't have certain ammunition, they can't have certain clips or magazines, they can't have, they have to wait to be able to get a gun, they have to turn in guns, as some have already proposed in the Democrat Party, that they have to turn in guns that are already their property, that people own lawfully. And now they're trying to make that a crime. They've already made it a crime in Chicago. and in California,
Yeah, and how
Washington,
well has that
D.C.
worked out in Chicago?
Oh yeah, it really worked out well for them. And how well has it worked out for the people in Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so anyway, it's this. So I want to ask the sheriff. Every sheriff in this country and every citizen in this country should do the same. Ask your sheriff, are you going to enforce those state statutes? They're not laws. They're state policies because they're pretend legislation. They cannot violate the supreme law of the land. So every sheriff in this country has sworn an oath of allegiance
To the Constitution.
to the Constitution. So now, Sheriff, which one are you going to enforce? The state statute that clearly violates the state's constitution on the right to keep and bear arms. Every state constitution is very powerful on the right to keep and bear arms.
Mm-hmm.
He's sworn an oath to uphold and defend the state and federal constitutions. So I said, I want to ask every citizen, ask your sheriff this question. When those laws are made, and those that are already made, are you going to enforce those, or are you going to uphold and defend your oath that you took, that allowed you to take your position as sheriff? You can't take your position without that oath. So are you going to violate a solemn oath made to the people who hired you, or are you going to enforce those stupid laws?
That's the question.
And to me, that's an easy answer.
Yeah.
You gave your word, and those other statutes in the state do not supersede the Constitution
No.
of the state or of the federal government.
No.
And you promised the people you would enforce those. How are you going to enforce and uphold your oath, and you're going to enforce all those laws? And wouldn't you, Sheriff, be guilty of perjury if you violate that oath?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then the bottom line question on that is, Sheriff, what are we really after in America? What's the ultimate goal? That we have an executive branch, a legislative branch, and a judicial branch, and that goes throughout the entire country. What is the ultimate goal in American government? Okay, and it boils down to two things. One, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. So government's purpose is to secure these rights. And ultimately, the other answer is to secure liberty. That's why you're here, Sheriff. And yeah, nobody ever said this was going to be easy. But when you have to pick and choose between policies and statutes of a state, or even of the federal government, between that and liberty and your constitutional sacred oath, that's an easy answer.
It should be.
But we just want them to know what really their responsibilities and duties are.
Yeah.
And that's what we do at cspoa.org.
Okay, yeah. And that brings to mind something else. A lot of these sheriffs, especially in the big cities, they have some of their funding, some of their equipment comes from the federal government.
Yeah.
So in their mind, it's tearing their allegiance away possibly from what they
Yay,
should be
do it.
focused on.
Yay,
But yes,
do it.
do it. You're a shining example. You risked everything to stand up because you have a moral compass. And that's the problem that we have is some of these guys. I live in Las Vegas. We saw what happened there a couple of years ago. Yeah. And we still don't have a straight answer on any of it. None of it. And they refuse to talk about it.
On the MGM shooting?
Yeah. And I mean, it's absolutely horrific, but it's a perfect example. I mean, we, the people, should know what happened. And the fact that they refuse to talk about it and they've changed their story like 3 times or more, it is an example of what we're talking about. So it's an uphill battle that we're against, and we've seen the militarization of police forces and sheriff's departments. And that's another thing. Why do police forces and sheriff's departments, need these high-powered, weaponry? Who are they supposed to be using that against?
Hopefully to protect us from the federal government.
Oh, no, hopefully, yeah. I always said that if the Marines want to protect we the people, they'd storm the Congressional Building in Washington D.C. Anyway, Sheriff Mack, thank you so much for taking some time and talking with us. We love you. We love everything that you do, and we appreciate you so much.
Thanks.